Welcome to the Alan Osborne Show. This is going to be a short show to go with the 6 April show because of the audio issues. I'm going to reshoot this part of the show. Watch what happens to Fred Tricker. Fred Tricker stands up and at the advice of Clay, Clay says that he can stand up and Fred is going to tell them what's happened. So watch Fred get punished for exercising his First Amendment speech rights.
Mr. Atkinson, Mr. Tricker is still a member of the Planning Commission.
Tony speaks up because he knows Fred's going to do this. And Tony knows that Shipman is going to shoot Tony if Tony doesn't come after Fred because Fred's the one that questioned Shipman. So Tony the phony has his puppet string pulled and somebody's down there yanking on his crank to come after Fred. This is what bullshit looks like. Go ahead, Fred.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is this some kind of conflict?
That's AKA for Clay. You weren't saying anything before, but I need you to come over here, Clay. I need you to come get Fred. I want you to come after him now, Clay. You better do what you're supposed to do.
Mr. Trickle, Mr. Trickle, on the record, you did hear this project as a member of the Planning Commission? No. You did not? It's changed.
Look at that. He tells Clay, Clay asked him as a Planning Commission member, didn't ask him as a general public. So Clay says he has the right to speak as the general public, but here he is questioning him as a planning board member in front of the board. So doesn't Fred have the right to answer? So he's not in conflict. He's just answering Clay. Didn't you hear this? No, it's changed. This ain't what we heard. That should have set off red flags and bells and whistles to kick this project back through the process because you can't change stuff right before the BCC if that's not what the public, the Planning Commission, the Technical Review Committee, if it all got changed yesterday, none of those people saw all the information. Is that how we do business, Clay? But watch this bullshit and come after Fred. He never says Fred does anything wrong. He says other people have done what Fred is doing, but Fred will become the target because Fred is knowledgeable.
It's changed since we heard it. But you heard there's information that was put out yesterday on the public record that I've never seen. Well, Mr. Tricker, the point is, you were on the Planning Commission when this project was happening. Yes, sir. So I'll say what I always do when a commission member wants to wander up here and give their comments. They're members of the citizens.
Right.
I do not believe it is good course or prudence for somebody who votes on the Planning Commission to then get up and offer opinions about the project they've already voted on, especially in a quasi-judicial proceeding, because it does give the appearance, if they're speaking for or against it, that their vote on the planning board may have been compromised. So it's up to the board. If Mr. Tricker chooses to do it, it is something that does issue for the county. But he's a citizen. If he wants to stand up here.
What poses the issue for the county is that MAC, Planning, and this project presenter have changed the information the day before the BCC is going to approve it. That negates the process that the plan went through, does it not? But Clay, on this conflicted issue of Sandestin, is not going to tell the commission that, and he's not going to acknowledge what Fred just told him, that the process had been broken.
Here to speak, he has the opportunity to do so. Thank you. My admonishment.
Fred doesn't have the opportunity. He has the right under the First Amendment, Clay. And this is November 28th, and about a month and a half later, you'd get sued for it, wouldn't you? But here's why Clay gets sued, because he thinks that somehow we let these peons speak. Because I'm the almost $1 million interim attorney who overrides land development code and everything else. It's garbage is what it is. Go ahead, Clay.
But the board is that you cannot give his opinion any more or less weight than any other citizen merely because he serves on the planning board.
Now Clay just told them what their obligation is. He didn't say that Fred was doing anything wrong. He said, here's how you handle that. But Boots is not satisfied with that, and stupid Boots is causing all this. He should pull it from the agenda before this Tuesday and keep from verifying to everybody, keep from just looking like a fool, but verifying that he is one.
If he offers testimony to you today, this is a quasi-judicial proceeding that he asserts is based on his knowledge of this from his time on the planning board, then I do believe we're going to have a problem, but he should not do so. He should be giving public comment direct.
If Fred's not to talk about when he was on the planning board, why did you ask him as a planning board member if he heard this? Why did you put that into the record, Clay? Fred didn't bring it up. He came up there under public comment, and you and Phony Baloney Tony made him the planning board member the issue. Y'all made it the issue, and now you've confused poor Boots. You've made his hair part an inch wide there in the center.
As a member of the public. Yes, sir, Mr.
Well, then I have a comment.
So Boots has a conflict because he doesn't understand. And this is just ridiculous. But this is a short segment of how Fred Tricker came to be lynched. Tony and Shipman and all them don't want Fred asking real questions, and go watch the beginning, the first 15 minutes of the March 14th plan meeting in Walton County, and you'll know what the deal is. You'll know, or watch the last part of my last show. Anyway, we'll keep this short and wrap this up, but show up Tuesday to save Fred. Like Clay said, Fred's allowed to do this, so why are we having this hearing? And guess what? Clay advises the planning board, so Fred just took advice from his attorney that he could speak. What bullshit. And now he's being put in a public hearing. Now, he's not the problem. There's other conflicts on that board. I think Shipman and Perry have been partners in LLCs. If that's not true, somebody call me up, Lee and Shipman, and write me an email and tell me that that's not true. Isn't Dean Burgess, hadn't he sued the county over planning issues, and there he sits up on the board? That's not an issue. How about the attorney for the county just sitting there letting Fred get grilled like Shipman's preaching the gospel, and Shipman's there to represent a developer? What is going on? This is just, elections have consequences. Boots and Tony must go. That's the bottom line. For you conservatives out there, you should have seen the absence of conservatives at Matt Gaetz's dinner the other night, where we talked about these systemic problems in America. Now, how can we ask Matt to fight in D.C. when we're not down here making our officials fight for us? Look at this unfair crap we're dealing with. This is wrong. Our $1 million attorney has got us into multi-million dollars of messes. We're paying him almost $1 million. And the legal matrix continues to grow, and the fleecing of the public continues also. We got Mac in charge of our planning, and he can't even go back to his old job because he's lost his license over a fraud accusation. In fact, he gave it to him to stop the process. You can't make this shit up. Let's not let them show up to save Fred on Tuesday and tell them, let's know. Write your commissioners if you can't go. Write Boots and tell him to pull this off the agenda. Boots is eating the bait. I bet Trey's grinning ear to ear with his buddy Chaz and Shipman. I bet they're all around in a big circle jerk. That's just my opinion. Come on, let's do something for Fred and save a citizen who's trying to protect our bays and our future. Some of us would like to live around here, or at least let our kids live in at least as good an environment as we had it. Is that so much to ask that we leave it at least as good as we had it and not worse? You can't make this shit up on the Alan Osborne Show, but you can unelect it. See you next time on the Same Bat Channel.